So guys, please subscribe to the channel and please smash the like button on this video. So guys, in this next news story, 3 men have been jailed for a £100,000 plot to murder a Birmingham dad who was shot by a would-be hitman wearing a Tesco jacket. The victim miraculously survived being blasted at his home in Sheldon on March 29, 2020 in a hit ordered by a drug dealer, a kingpin based in Dubai. The man's girlfriend had answered the door to the gunman, who was also wearing a ski mask, high-vis jacket and black gloves. The victim was fired upon as he stepped into his hallway behind his partner. The gunman entered the property to fire more bullets at him before fleeing the scene, and he is still yet to be identified. Following the trial, Connor Palmer, who's 40 of London, Craig Miller, who's 37 of Surrey, and Elijah Stokes, who's 38 of Coventry, were found guilty of conspiracy to murder. Miller was also convicted of a second identical charge in relation to another proposed hit, which was never carried out. At Birmingham Crown Court today, Palmer was sentenced to life with a minimum term of 23 years, while Miller, who refused to attend, was sentenced to life with a minimum of 30 years. Stokes received a sentence of 27 years, of which he will serve 2/3, 18 years, before he is considered for release. The shooting had been planned for 6 weeks using encrypted phones, and a jury was told the victim had been involved in the supply of drugs but ended up owing money to a high-level drug dealer originally from Birmingham but based in Dubai, who ultimately ordered for him to be killed. The Dubai dealer had a network of people working for him in London, including the professional hitmen Miller and Palmer, and agreed to pay them £100,000 for the murder. They in turn paid another man £40,000 to carry out the shooting. Stokes, who was based in the West Midlands, was described as a loyal and trusted lieutenant to the Dubai dealer who he had introduced to Palmer and Miller. It was said he willingly became involved and offered to provide a gun and car to the shooter. Messages indicated the hitman used a stolen car on false plates to carry out the attack. The target was shot 5 times but has gone on to make a near full recovery, albeit with long-term scarring to his face and body. The murder plot was planned over encrypted messaging platform EncroChat, which was much favoured by serious organised criminals. The defendants were brought to justice when the network was cracked by detectives in 2020. Justice Pepperell, in passing sentence, said, "I am satisfied you, Connor Palmer, and your co-D, Craig Miller, were professional hitmen working together and were each prepared to kill complete strangers to order for a fee of £100,000. You went about your business with the ruthless efficiency and showed no compassion whatsoever to your potential victims." He added, far from being relieved he survived, you, Connor Palmer and Craig Miller, were embarrassed this hit had been bungled, and you were keen to reassure the Dubai kingpin you could complete this mission. EncroChat messages sent the day after on the white stuff handle expressed disbelief that he had not died. Quickly the discussion turned to other hits, then you offered to go again within 2 weeks. Justice Pepperell stated Miller could have warranted a rare and exceptional whole-life order, but for the shooting victim surviving through the ineptitude of the gunman and the fact his second planned hit was foiled when EncroChat became compromised. The judge stated Stokes showed the lengths he was prepared to go to support the murder plan in order to ensure you continue to enjoy the material benefits of your chosen criminal life. He ruled that all 3 defendants were very, very dangerous men. James Hines, the defence for Palmer, stated that he was a good man and had been made an enhanced prisoner whilst in custody due to good behaviour. The court was told Miller had not gotten in the van to come to prison at today's hearing, and his barrister said that is not surprising to those representing him. That was his stated intention. And the defence of Stoke argued there was an absence of evidence that he did in fact provide the gun and car, or that he received any direct financial reward. In a news story coming from Nottinghamshire ways, and bungling criminals have been locked up for their roles in a botched cash-in-transit robbery at a petrol station. Georgita Kuka and Marius Oana waited until a security delivery driver returned to his van and tried to wrestle the cash box from him. The tug of war continued between the 2 men and the driver, who wouldn't let go, and the pair ran off empty-handed after a woman shouted at them. The robbers had been driven to the petrol station in Woodthorpe by a 25-year-old Jimmy Vertan. The failed heist happened at around 2:40 on Friday, the 4th of November 2022 in the afternoon, and Circa is 35 and Oana is 27 fled the scene in the same car, which was identified and later stopped by police on the A50 in Staffordshire. The three occupants were arrested and items including face masks, gloves, an angle grinder and sledgehammer were found in the boot. Three men were subsequently charged and pleaded guilty to attempted robbery, and they appeared at Nottingham Crown Court today. So Circa, formerly of Birmingham, was jailed for 3.5 years. Oana and Verton from Birmingham were locked up for 3 years. Burton also pleaded guilty to driving without insurance, and he was banned from driving for 30 months. Inspector Steve Dolby of Nottinghamshire Police said this was a planned and brazen attack on a security driver in broad daylight. The offenders travelled a substantial distance from the West Midlands, knowing exactly when their target would be in the location for this offence to be committed. I hope that the sentences passed to the three men will deter other would-be offenders and sends out a clear message that Nottinghamshire Police will deal robustly with those involved in serious crime of this nature and will do all it can to bring them to justice. And guys, yesterday I reported on that story with regards to that girl who was high on balloons. She ended up driving 100 miles per hour on a 40 mile per hour road, ended up killing her mate, the passenger, and she got 4 years. And in this next story, this lad's got 3 years and 9 months for killing someone. However, for some reason, if you got one of those dodgy IPTV boxes, you're getting 11 years in prison. How does the sentencing make sense? But anyway, to the story. So a man who caused the death of a teenage girl by driving while under the influence of drink and drugs has been jailed. Keelan Roberts previously admitted 4 charges relating to the death of Chloe Heyman, who was a passenger in his car in the early hours of July the 24th, 2022. The 22-year-old had consumed alcohol, cocaine, ketamine and ecstasy before getting behind the wheel of his Skoda Octavia following a night out in Pontypridd in South Wales. Cardiff Crown Court Roberts had not met Chloe before that evening and offered to take her home after arguing with his girlfriend. Roberts lost control of his car in a village, with the collision resulting in fatal chest injuries, with Chloe dying at the scene. I just want to say rest in peace, Chloe, and my condolences go out to your family. Judge David Wynne Morgan jailed Roberts for 3 years and 9 months and banned him from driving for 10 years. The judge heard victim personal impact statements from Chloe's family, and they said Chloe is not a statistic. She was a real living person who would be alive today had you not taken the selfish, criminally foolish and intoxicated decision to put her in your car and to drive it. Aside from the disbelief that the court feels at the folly of your behaviour, the court's primary occupation is deep sympathy for Chloe's family and all who knew her and whose lives were evidently enriched by her. The judge said the sentence of 3 years and 9 months was within sentencing guidelines, but acknowledged that it may seem inadequate. He said it is inadequate for the simple reason that no sentence can have the effect of restoring Chloe Heyman to her loved ones. So the court heard Roberts arranged for a friend who was not on the night out to collect him at 4 o'clock in the morning and had left his car before heading to the club. And on the way home, Roberts asked his friend to stop in his car in order for him to get something from it. After exiting the vehicle, Roberts jumped into the driver's seat of the vehicle and Chloe got into the front passenger seat and the car drove off. The court also heard the car, which would have failed at MOT due to the condition of its tyres, collided with railings on a cattle grid. Roberts then began drinking bottles of alcohol, claiming this was to take the edge off things, but the judge said it was to frustrate police inquiries to ascertain how much he had consumed before the crash. So once again, I just want to say rest in peace, Chloe, and my condolences go out to your family. So guys, these are a number of stories coming out from the streets of the UK. It's your boy GT. Keep it locked, keep it real.